When it comes to intimacy, most people think it's all about technique, the right move, or the perfect rhythm. But the truth is, what makes the biggest difference isn't whether you've memorized some magical step-by-step guide. It's the energy and confidence you bring into the moment. Think about it, no man is sitting there analyzing if you're following some secret rule book. He's responding to how you make him feel, and nothing makes him feel more turned on, more connected, and more desired than sensing that you're confident in what you're doing. Confidence doesn't mean arrogance, and it doesn't mean you need to know everything. It's about the way you show up. It's in your body language, your eye contact, your little smirk that says, "I know you're enjoying this." That kind of energy instantly shifts the atmosphere because it's no longer about whether you're doing it right. It's about creating an experience that feels electric. Imagine for a second someone who's technically flawless but nervous, overthinking every move, second-guessing themselves. Even if they do everything by the book, it feels stiff, robotic, and disconnected. Now imagine someone who maybe doesn't know all the tricks in the world, but they lean in with curiosity, they play, they tease, they make it clear they're enjoying the moment as much as you are. That second person will always have the advantage because passion beats perfection every time. Men don't remember whether you got every detail right. They remember how you made them feel in that moment. And confidence is what burns the memory into their minds. Confidence also allows you to relax and explore. Instead of treating the moment like a performance, you don't have to put pressure on yourself to be flawless. In fact, he doesn't want flawless. He wants real, raw, messy fun. He wants to see that you're present with him, that you're not trapped in your head worrying about how you look or what he's thinking. When you're confident, you give yourself permission to let go of the noise and focus on him, and that shift is magnetic. It's what makes your touch feel warmer, your energy feel bolder, and your presence unforgettable. Now, here's the secret most women don't realize: confidence is contagious. When he feels your certainty, when he sees you owning the moment, it amplifies his own excitement. It makes him feel chosen, wanted, and desired in a way that nothing else can replicate. He stops thinking about whether he looks good or whether he's taking too long, because your confidence gives him permission to surrender to the experience. It's like you're saying without words, "Relax, I've got this, and I'm enjoying every second." That reassurance turns the entire encounter into something far more powerful. And the beautiful thing about confidence is that it doesn't require you to be perfect. It just requires you to show up fully. You can stumble, you can laugh, you can experiment, and it only adds to the connection because he feels you're comfortable in your own skin. That's the difference between a forgettable experience and one he'll think about long after it's over. Confidence creates safety, excitement, and intensity all at once, and when you bring that into intimacy, you unlock a side of him that even he might not have felt before. So if there's one secret to remember above all else, it's this: he doesn't need you to perform, he needs you to radiate certainty. He doesn't need flawless, he needs fearless, because when you lead with confidence, everything else, every move, every touch, every kiss becomes 10 times more powerful. One of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to intimacy is thinking that speed equals satisfaction. They rush into the moment, eager to prove they can give pleasure, but in reality, the magic isn't in how fast you get there, it's in how long you can make the anticipation last. Men might not always say this out loud, but what drives them wild isn't just the act itself, it's the build-up. It's that delicious tension of knowing something incredible is about to happen, but having to wait just a little longer. That slow tease is what transforms the ordinary into something unforgettable. Think about how powerful suspense is in other parts of life. When you're watching a movie, it's the build-up to the big moment that has you on the edge of your seat. When you're opening a gift, It's the unwrapping, the not knowing, that makes the reveal so exciting. Intimacy works exactly the same way. When you create that sense of anticipation, when you slow everything down instead of rushing, you give him the chance to feel every touch, every breath, every second in high definition. And the truth is, those moments before the climax are often more intoxicating than the finish itself. Men may act like they want things fast, but what they crave deep down is that roller coaster of emotion, the slow climb before the drop. If you go straight into overdrive, he'll enjoy it, sure, but it won't stick in his memory. What makes him remember, what makes him feel addicted to your touch is the way you made him wait. When you tease, when you pull back just as he thinks you're about to give him exactly what he wants, you create a craving that only you can satisfy. That's power, and it's subtle, but it's the kind of power that makes him keep coming back for more. Anticipation is also about presence. When you slow things down, you force both of you to be in the moment. Instead of racing to the end, you're savoring the journey. You're letting your hands, your mouth, your energy linger just long enough to make him feel like time has stopped. That's when the intensity builds, because now he's not just physically engaged, he's mentally and emotionally wrapped up in the experience. It becomes less about release and more about connection, and that's what takes intimacy to another level. Here's the part that often gets overlooked. Anticipation shows confidence. It tells him you're not in a rush, you're not desperate to prove anything. You know exactly what you're doing. That calm control makes him feel both excited and safe at the same time. It reassures him that you're enjoying yourself, that you're not trying to tick a box or perform a routine. And when he senses that his guard drops, his body relaxes, and his mind fully surrenders to the experience. The beauty of anticipation is that it doesn't require complicated techniques. It's as simple as slowing down, teasing with your eyes, your breath, your hands, your pauses. It's knowing that sometimes holding back creates more pleasure than giving everything at once. It's about letting him ache for you, letting him feel that growing intensity until he can't think about anything else but you. That's what makes the moment unforgettable. So remember, this anticipation is the art of giving him what he wants by not giving it all right away. It's the slow burn, the careful build, the irresistible tease. And when you master that, you don't just give him pleasure, you give him an experience he'll replay in his mind long after it's over. What most people don't realize is that intimacy is not just about what you do with your body. It's about how well you listen without words. Men might not always be great at verbalizing what feels good, but their bodies are constantly speaking, constantly giving you clues. The secret is learning to pay attention, to read those subtle signals, and to let that guide you. It's not about asking him every 2 seconds if he likes something. It's about becoming so tuned in to his reactions that you just know. That kind of silent communication creates a rhythm between you, a flow that feels effortless and electric. Every sigh, every shiver, every tightening of his muscles tells a story. The way his breath catches, the way his hips shift, the way his hands reach for you or grip the sheets, all of those are signs. And when you pay attention, when you adjust to those little shifts, he feels not just physically satisfied but deeply understood. That's a powerful feeling for a man, because it's rare to feel that someone is so in sync with you that they can read you without you saying a word. It makes him feel safe to let go, because he knows you're paying attention, you're present, and you care about his experience. Eye contact is another form of unspoken communication that can completely transform the moment. It's not something you need to hold the entire time, but when you do it at the right moments, it builds an intensity that words could never match. It's that quick glance that says, "I know what I'm doing to you," or that longer look that says, "I love seeing you like this." Men crave that kind of connection because it makes the intimacy feel personal, not just physical. It turns a physical act into a shared moment of vulnerability and desire, and that's what takes everything to another level. The beauty of this kind of communication is that it also takes the pressure off you. You don't need to have every trick memorized. You don't need to guess blindly. His body is already giving you the answers. You just have to listen. And when you respond to what he's telling you with his breath, his sounds, his movements, you create a loop of feedback. He reacts, you adjust. He reacts again, and suddenly you're both caught up in a rhythm that feels natural and alive. That's when intimacy stops being a performance and starts being a dance. It's important to remember that silence doesn't mean emptiness. In fact, it often means depth. The quiet moments in intimacy are the ones where the connection feels strongest because you're tuned into each other on a level beyond words. Men may not always know how to articulate their desires, but when they feel you responding intuitively, when they feel seen without needing to explain, it creates trust. And trust is what allows him to let go completely, to give himself to the moment without holding anything back. So instead of worrying about what to say, lean into what he's already telling you without words. Notice the rhythm of his breathing, the way his eyes close, the sounds he makes. Notice the way his body pulls you closer when something feels good, or the way he stiffens if something feels too much. Those details are the roadmap. And if you learn to follow them, you'll never need to guess. At the end of the day, communication in intimacy is about connection, not conversation. It's about showing him that you're paying attention, that you're not lost in your head, but right there with him. And when you master that unspoken language, you give him more than pleasure. You give him the feeling of being completely understood. And that is something he will never forget. What truly separates an unforgettable, intimate experience from one that fades quickly is variety. The human body craves surprise, and when every touch, every movement, every sensation feels the same, the excitement begins to dull. Men, just like women, respond to shifts in pace, changes in pressure, and unexpected contrasts. It's not about knowing 100 different tricks. It's about understanding that small changes can make a massive difference. The rhythm of intimacy isn't supposed to be flat. It's supposed to rise and fall, speed up and slow down, build tension and then release it. That unpredictability is what keeps him engaged, what keeps his senses alive, and what makes the moment impossible to forget. Think about music for a second. A song that plays the same note over and over quickly becomes boring, no matter how beautiful the sound. But when the beat changes, when the tempo shifts, when there's a sudden pause before the drop, you feel it in your whole body. Intimacy works in the exact same way. If everything stays at one level, too fast, too slow, too light, or too intense, he adapts and the excitement fades. But when you play with variety, when you switch things up, and make him wonder what's coming next, you keep him on the edge, hungry for more. Men love that contrast between gentle and firm, between slow teasing and sudden intensity. That switch keeps his mind guessing, keeps his body on fire, and keeps his emotions hooked into the moment. A soft touch followed by a stronger one, a slow build interrupted by a sudden burst of passion. These shifts create fireworks. The surprise wakes him up and makes him feel every second more vividly. It's not about being complicated, it's about being playful, about experimenting with different sensations until you find that rhythm where he's lost in the experience. The key to variety is also knowing when to hold back and when to go all in. There's a beauty in restraint, in lingering just long enough to make him ache and then switching gears into something more intense. That kind of rhythm takes him on a journey rather than giving him everything all at once. It creates waves of pleasure that keep building, and with each wave, his anticipation grows stronger. When you know how to balance softness with intensity, slowness with speed, you take control of his experience in a way that makes him feel like no one else could compare. But variety isn't only about speed and pressure. It's also about mixing in different touches, using not just one part of yourself, but exploring with creativity. Hands, breath, pauses, even silence can all play a part in the experience. When you layer these together, sometimes focusing, sometimes teasing, sometimes surprising, you create something multi-dimensional. It's no longer just physical pleasure. It becomes a sensory adventure that keeps him fully immersed. And here's the deeper part: when you bring variety into intimacy, you show him that you're not just going through the motions. You're fully present, engaged, curious. That energy is intoxicating because it tells him this isn't routine. It's personal. You're not treating him like just another man. You're exploring him, responding to him, and creating something unique together. That makes him feel special, chosen, and deeply desired. So if you want to leave a lasting impression, don't aim for perfection through repetition. Aim for surprise, for contrast, for unpredictability. Play with the tempo, shift the rhythm, and let him feel the highs and the lows. Because when you master variety, you transform intimacy from something predictable into something unforgettable. And that's the difference between a moment he enjoys and a memory he never lets go. What most people forget is that technique alone doesn't create lasting impact. What makes intimacy unforgettable is the feeling of being wanted, of knowing that the other person is genuinely enjoying giving as much as you are enjoying receiving. Men crave that more than they'll ever admit. It's not just about pleasure, it's about feeling desired. When he senses that you're there not out of obligation or performance, but out of real passion, it changes the entire energy. That kind of enthusiasm makes him feel chosen, celebrated, and admired, and it taps into something far deeper than physical satisfaction. Think about the difference between someone going through the motions and someone who looks at you like they can't get enough. That look alone can ignite a man's desire in ways no technique could. When you lean in with excitement, when your body language screams, "I want this," you awaken a primal part of him that thrives on being wanted. Men are often starved of that feeling because they're expected to chase, to initiate, to perform. So when he feels that you're not just allowing the moment, but genuinely reveling in it, it becomes intoxicating. Showing desire doesn't mean being over the top or theatrical. It's in the little things. The way you touch him like you can't resist, the way you let out a sound without holding back, the way your eyes light up when you see how he's responding. Those signals tell him that he's not just giving you something, he's giving you something you actually crave. That flips a switch inside him. It makes him feel not just attractive, but powerful, masculine, and irresistible in your eyes. And for a man, that validation is explosive. Men remember how you made them feel about themselves more than anything else. If he feels like you're tolerating the moment, it'll fade quickly. But if he feels like you're addicted to him, that you're getting as much thrill from the experience as he is, he'll never forget it. That memory will linger not just because of the physical pleasure, but because of the emotional charge behind it. That's what makes him think of you long after the moment is over. There's also a confidence that radiates when you show genuine desire. It says you're comfortable in your skin, unafraid to express what you want, and unapologetic about enjoying yourself. That's magnetic. Men don't just crave partners who are skilled, they crave partners who are present, uninhibited, and authentic. When you're not worried about looking perfect or following some script, and instead you're lost in the passion, it gives him permission to do the same. That creates a loop of energy where both of you are feeding off each other, building something bigger than either of you could create alone. And here's the beauty: desire is contagious. When you show that you want him, he wants you more. When you let him see how much you enjoy touching him, he relaxes, he lets go, and he dives deeper into the moment. It takes away the pressure of performance because he no longer feels like he's being judged. He feels celebrated. That's when he surrenders fully, and that's when the experience becomes truly powerful. So the secret isn't just in how you touch him. It's in how much you let him see that you want him. Make him feel desired, not just pleasured. Make him feel like he's the only one who could light you up in that way. Because when you do that, you don't just create an intimate moment, you create a memory he'll replay again and again, long after the lights are out. One of the most overlooked secrets in intimacy is the balance between giving and control. Too often people think it has to be one or the other. You're either completely in charge, leading every move, or you're completely submissive, letting the other person dictate everything. But the truth is, the most powerful experiences come when there's a dance between the two, when you know how to shift from giving pleasure to taking control and back again. That balance keeps the energy alive, it keeps him engaged, and it creates a deeper connection because it shows that you're both fully invested in the moment. Men love to feel like they're in control. It feeds into a primal instinct, but what excites them just as much is when you flip the script and take the reins yourself. That unexpected shift is thrilling because it shows confidence, boldness, and desire. When you guide him, when you make it clear that you're not just there to please, but to explore what you want to, it takes the experience from one-sided to mutual. That makes him feel like he's not just giving, but part of something shared. It tells him this isn't a performance, it's a partnership. At the same time, there's incredible power in knowing when to step back and let him feel like he's leading. Giving him that space doesn't mean losing yourself, it means creating contrast. When you allow him to take charge, he feels masculine, strong, wanted. And then when you take control again, the shift is electrifying because it's unexpected. It's that constant exchange that makes intimacy feel like a push and pull rather than a straight line. It keeps both of you curious, keeps both of you hooked, because neither of you knows exactly what's coming next. This balance is also what removes pressure. If you're always leading, it can feel exhausting. If you're always passive, it can feel empty. But when you alternate, when you mix surrender with command, it creates a natural flow that feels alive. Sometimes giving is the greatest gift. You let him feel powerful. Let him see how much you're enjoying what he's doing to you. And sometimes taking control is the greatest thrill. You let him see that you're fearless, that you know exactly how to drive him over the edge. Both roles matter, and both bring out different sides of him. What makes this so impactful is that it goes beyond technique and touches on psychology. A man doesn't just want pleasure, he wants to feel something about himself. When you let him lead, he feels strong and capable. When you take control, he feels wanted and irresistible. That combination hits him on both ends of the spectrum. It feeds his ego and his desire. And when you master that balance, he's not just physically satisfied, he's emotionally hooked. The beauty is, you don't have to plan it. This isn't about creating a script or deciding when to switch. It's about tuning into the moment, feeling the energy, and flowing with it. Sometimes his intensity calls for you to soften and let him take over. Sometimes his hesitation calls for you to grab the reins and show him exactly what you want. The balance doesn't have to be equal, but it does have to be fluid. That's what keeps it exciting, and that's what makes him crave more. So if you want to give him an experience that lingers in his mind, don't lock yourself into one role. Don't be just the giver, and don't be just the receiver. Be both. Know when to surrender and when to command, when to let him feel powerful, and when to surprise him with your own boldness. That balance is the secret that turns good into unforgettable, because it makes the moment feel alive, dynamic, and endlessly exciting.